Boom. Okay. Little lights bursting. All right, everybody. This is Bob from Chicago Archery. Let's put us up on the screen. Today, I got a guest, Will, that shoots from. He's in our league, and he came into Chicago Archery. Found us not too long ago. How long ago?
Yeah, a few months ago, probably. Came in a few times for different equipment stuff, and then started the league this year.
Oh, cool. Bit helpful, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All
it's
right.
a good time.
Let's get some of the introductions out of the way. Thank you again, Wings of Severance. Wings of Severance is the ones that wrote that music for the opening, and they rock, man. You can find them on YouTube's, SoundCloud, and all that other shit, man. But they rock, man. Good guys, and they're archers, man. So we dig Wings of Severance. All right. The other thing we got is, don't forget, if you have any questions, input, or anything, go to CATOTHEPOINT@gmail.com. That's CA to the point, Chicago Archeries to the point @gmail.com. If you got any questions or concerns or gripes, if you got a gripe, don't send it. I won't read it. I hate you.
It's hard.
All right. I found out recently, as of Friday, somebody called me and says, "Man, you got to do another podcast because it's like talking to you." Yeah, I'm fading in and out. So I'm going to take this share screen. I got to get like a green screen or something because I got to get this share screen out of here. Hang on, not the share screen. So those of you that don't know, we have a, let me get the share screen out. We have, or the background, I should say. Oh, this is working. Anyway, it won't go away. All right. So, it's not doing it. Desktop, whatever. I don't know how to make that go away. So, those of you that don't know, I'm really new at this. And we also have a YouTube. So when you hear the shenanigans of what's going on, you can always go to see Chicago Archeries to the point on YouTube. And you can find, there we go. Now I'm acting slow with all the shit that's going on. And I guess some of the people don't like me swearing. So fuck you. They're worried about it. Their kids listening to it. I would never subscribe, but my own kids, they roll their eyes at me. As you know, you see Jessica. If you come to the shop, you'll see my daughter works here, and some of the other girls they know, just don't talk to them. All right. Okay. So I asked Will to come in with me today because I have to have somebody to talk to. We recorded one, Rick and I. Mm-hmm. Rick was in the beginning ones, and we recorded one with just me. You wanted to see how it went. It was horrible. I was talking to myself, and I was just like bouncing off the mic, right? So if you want to see some of the stupid shit that we're doing, go to Chicago Archeries to the point on YouTube. If you want to see now on this, as Will knows, we brought this in. If you want to know about products and stuff, that's not what this is for. This is a dealer talking to consumers, trying to educate you so you can come in and pick out the right product for yourself. It helps me. It helps you. You're educated when you come in. You're not blindly coming in. You have some knowledge and you can see for yourself. And that's why we do these. If you want to know about products, and I'm going to be doing more of them now that I've got the equipment, you can go to Chicago Archery's YouTube, and I will be doing product videos, and I'll be talking about the products themselves. But this is not what it's for. I try to stay away from products unless something really pisses me off. Then I'm going to fucking say their name.
Call them out.
Call them out, brother. So I say that because you're a billboard.
Yep.
And but you use all that equipment and you're proud. You're like, hey man, look at me. You know, I got FMJs, you know, I have Vortex optics. That's great stuff. And I see that and I'm like, okay, that's what I'm going to carry. So if you're knowledgeable and you come in like you are, like you came into my shop, you didn't buy a bow from me. You got a bow somewhere else. You came to me for the service, fell in love with the place. And, you know, the atmosphere that's here is awesome.
Right.
So when you say, hey man, I like this stuff, I search it out. I become a dealer. I become your dealer. So I take care of my community, you know, and if there's good products out there, man, I don't care if it was that company sucked last year and they're good this year. That's the products I'm going to carry, you know? So you tell me. So I'm educating you to educate me to what to get, you know? So that's what it is. I'm not shoving what I think you should have down your throat. I'm making sure that I have the product you want here. Okay. So that's what this is all about. That's long story short for those of you who are new. And if you don't already know that, go back to the earlier episodes and download them, especially the podcast. Download the podcast and then go to the YouTubes and look down below somewhere is a subscribe button, man. You know, subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you get the updates and you know there's new shit that's coming out. Because today, like I promised on the last one, I'm going to be doing rests. Okay. And you hear these little clankings and stuff that you can see on the YouTube. I will describe everything in detail. So you don't have to see the YouTube. But if you want to use the YouTube, that's another way of looking at it. If you want to see my pretty face, there it is. And Will is gorgeous. If you're not seeing it now, ladies, Will is fucking gorgeous. All right. And today there's a lot of swearing. So this will not be parentally, you know, correct. And I'm going to get yelled at. Guaranteed. It's going to upload and people are going to yell at me for my obscenities.
Hey man, got to be real.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly, man. You got to be real on these things, man. That's what people want. They want people telling them no bullshit.
Right.
Just remember, man, you know, if I'm selling you a product or not me, but if somebody's telling you and, you know, they're a billboard and they're telling you, oh, this is the greatest, that's marketing, right?
Absolutely.
We've already discussed this. And I got Will here because some of the equipment that he has is was sold to you kind of because you saw it marketing, right? You know, you picked
definitely.
it. You know, you listen to podcasts and TV shows and shit like that. Yeah,
definitely. You know, YouTube channels and whatnot. Learning about the products, especially as a new guy to the sport. There's a lot of resources out there, but finding out what is right for you is a whole nother step.
Cool. And another thing is Will and I clicked. We're both fly fishermen. Yeah. Right. And fly fishing is the archery of the fishing world. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, anybody can wing a spinner out there, you know, and throw it in and hook a fish and bring it in, you know, just like the guy can pick up a rifle and go. I mean, they both take skill. Don't get me wrong, but they don't take as much as skill and it's not as prestigious. Now, if you catch a tarpon on a spinner, you caught a tarpon. That's cool. You catch a tarpon on a fly rod, you're fucking cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Next level.
Yeah. Yeah. You kill a moose with a rifle. You've killed a moose, man. That's no. I mean, believe me, I kill a moose. It's cool. But if you kill a moose with a bow, man, he sneezed and his snot got on me.
Yeah. You can smell the animal.
Oh, smell him, dude. I was the Alaska golden rule for me is, if the animal stomps on me twice, you can then shoot him. But after the first stomp, I still feel I have a fighting chance. I watched, and I said that before I shot my first moose. When the first moose got in front of me, and it was at like 30 feet, and he stomped his hoof on the ground, and the ground moved because we're like, swamp area, marsh. I thought, man, that golden reel sucks. Because I'm only going to take one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you really rethink things. So anyways, let's get into what we're here for. I'm going to adjust me. I'm good here. You sound good?
Yep.
Everything good?
Good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's jump into rests. All right. We're in the shop. So if you hear a little bit of an echo when I get loud, because I'm partially deaf. So, and then you put these things on me, I got to turn them up real loud so I don't scream. All right. So I am going to bring up share background here, man. It's not good, man. The picture's not there. Oh, please bring up the picture. I didn't bring up the picture. Stop share. Okay. So I have a picture I'm going to bring up, and it's not working. It's not working at all. Oh, man. So anyway, I must have X'd it out or something, but I am going to bring up some rests, and I really wanted that picture up. So let's see if I can bring this one up. There we go. Full screen. That's the one I want right there. Okay. So you guys can't see this yet. You will be able to see it here in just a second. As I wander my way through this. All right. So I am going to bring this up. Oh, there it is. Thank you, Lord. So you're going to see this. All right. Okay. I hope you guys are looking at this. This should be recording. We're going to talk about different rests. And like everything else, I included a recurve rest in this because we sold 4 recurves today. We are like one of the number one recurve retailers in the Midwest because I love recurves. I've shot recurves my entire life. I learned on a recurve. I know it. I take training on it. I've done it my entire life, and I love it. So I know people, as soon as somebody sees your hunter, they're like, oh, you're a compound guy. Whereas, right behind me here, as my recurve set up all the time where my compound gets dust. So let's talk about the different types of rest and why. Okay. So I'm going to go around the screen here with the arrow, and I'm going to talk about the different rests. And then we're going to go, and I'm going to jump around a little bit of the screen. Okay, up here in the upper right is a whisker biscuit. And a whisker biscuit, so for those you that don't know what one is, it's a thing that bolts on, where the rest goes. And the rest is what holds your arrow for somebody that's really new. Okay, I got to make sure that I include everyone. And a whisker biscuit is a bunch of bristles in a circle that have a hole in the middle. And your arrow sits in there. And in the old days, they didn't even have the opening on the side where you could slide your arrow. You had to slide your arrow right through the hole. Mm-hmm. And what it does is when it shoots, those bristles let the veins, or the fletching, you want to call, through the bristles so your arrow can go. And what it does is it captivates. It doesn't allow your arrow, because in the old days, you pull back. We used to have this thing called a TM Hunter, which I don't even have a picture up here. The arrow would fall off, and it would scare a lot of people. So it allows it to captivate the arrow. Like I can pull back with confidence and let it shoot. Now, we've gone away from those pretty much nowadays, and most people don't use those anymore. All right. Another one is a drop-down rest, and that's down in this lower left-hand corner if you're looking at the picture, and I'll explain it. The drop-down rest is a rest that when you pull back, right, the rest holder, or the launcher, they call it, holds the arrow. Now, some of them you can set beforehand and hold your arrow up, and it's kind of captivated with an arm over the top of it. And then when you release, the releasing and the speed, it drops away immediately. Okay, so it's activated by the cable. So a drop away is mostly activated by a cable, right? And it drops like with the inertia of the speed of it going, right?
Yep.
And there's a few brands out there. There's quite a few brands, and what it does is it takes a lot of the archer movement away from the interaction with the arrow.
Mm-hmm.
So when you release, as soon as you release, that thing drops away. The arrow pushes out through the string. Okay, we're talking 0.6 of a second, or something like that, 0.06 of a second, whatever. And it goes out, and if you move, it really doesn't have a lot of interaction with the arrow. Okay, like with a whisker basket, if you move a little bit with your wrist, that thing's gonna. If the arrow's still in there, like if you pull the trigger and grab at the same time, the arrow is gonna, move because it's still captivated in there, and it pulls it. Where a drops away right away, lets that arrow get out and go. So it makes it more of a consistent shot for the average archer. Now, on that same type of drop away, they have what they call a limb driver rest, which it drops away. Okay. Now, what a limb driver down is, it's down when you're at rest,
right,
or not drawn. And when you draw and that limb comes in, a spring lifts up the arrow, right? And then when you release, the limb pulls the rest back down. So what that does is it makes it a little bit slower. Now, that's for somebody that is, now this is important for you guys. That is for somebody that has a good, front hand grip, very stable, and good follow through. They can get a lot of control out of that. That's not for everybody. You have to be that type of archer to have a limb driver. Okay. So you can time a limb driver. All right. Now I have one here. All right. And I'm going to describe it. Okay. So what you do is you apply tension to that spring when it's at the, when you're not drawn. Okay. So as the limb lets up, you can adjust that spring. The limb comes up, it brings the rest up. Right. And then what happens is, as you shoot, it pulls it back down. Okay. Now you can adjust that timing for more control. You can move that string forward or back on your limb and have some adjustment. Sounds great. Let me tell you something. If you're not that, you may think you're that kind of a shooter, and some are, but not everybody is. And you got to have some experience and have your process in line to use one of those kind of rests. Right. So it's not one that I recommend for a new shooter. Can they use it? Yes. Can they get away with it? Yes. Are they going to be a little bit inconsistent? Yes. When things go wrong, they're really going to go wrong. That can get frustrating. The object of archery is to have fun. Hunting, if you kill one deer a year, you shoot one arrow a year. You know what I mean? That really counts.
Right.
It's all the practice arrows, and have the fun in between is what really keeps you going. Okay. So that's a limb driver. I want to explain that in detail. Okay. Now, on that same mark, we have what they call a blade. Okay. A blade rest. Okay. And I will show these a little better on the YouTube video when we come off the background. And that's down here, down in the middle. Okay. That blade rest doesn't move at all. You set the angle so it rides on your arrow, where it makes just a minimal contact. You have to draw straight back so it doesn't fall off. And it has a little bit of flex, because when an arrow comes out of a compound bow, now we're going to get into this a little bit, it does like it flexes a certain way, down and up, like a porpoise.
Right.
Okay. This would be a fishtail, back, left, and right, a porpoise being up and down. Okay. So an arrow, because of that flex, your archers, the flex of the arrow, it has a little bit of flex to it. So the arrow will come out and do its thing, but still stay on path. And then, the spine of the arrow recovers it. Okay. So you have to pick with these. These are mostly for target archers. And those are ones that, man, you see a target archer, they let the bow do their thing and then they drop their arm. All right. So they're not crazy. Where hunters have their adrenaline going and all that. That's why they lean towards the drop away.
Right.
Get the human error out of it. You want a little more control, and you can do that. So people are getting caught into that. Oh, I want pinpoint accuracy out of a hunting bow. You can get it to a certain degree, but you're going to be fighting because of the equipment that they use in target archery, where they get it a little bit easier, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now, I can hear the Harleys in the background. Okay. Another thing on a rest I want people to notice is the length of the hole that where it mounts to the bow. Okay. And I'm going to lead this into something that we're going to go into when we start talking tuning and stuff. But that length of that hole is there for a reason. If it was supposed to be mounted in one spot, it would have just a single hole, single 5/16 hole. But if you look at them, they have like elongated holes. And you know what that's for?
Adjustments.
For what?
Rest tuning.
Right. Ooh, torque tuning.
Yeah.
That's for torque tuning with the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. There's two ways to torque tune. And we mentioned that in the sights. You can do it with your rest or your sight. So I've talked about it twice, but never explained it. I'm not going to today either.
Take them out.
Download. Okay. All right. So if you heard it banging around, that's me with the rests on the table. This table's loud. I should get a blanket or something for it. I'm just too cheap. Okay. Now, we've talked about the blade. We've talked about the whisker biscuit, the limb driver, and the drop weight. And those are just basics. If you come into the shop, I'll elaborate on them more. I can tell you so much more about these. All right. But there's one other thing, and I don't have it in my hand because I put it away earlier, is the recurve rest. And the recurve rest consists of two parts. One is the plunger. Okay. And that's what it is it screws into the riser and it pushes the arrow left or right on the riser. And when the tip comes out the other side, it goes where the screw of the rest goes normally for like a compound bow, but on a recurve, it's got the same hole. They call it a burger button. Okay. I don't want to get into the history of that. Okay. I do have a paper on it. Yeah. Okay. So what it does is it has a spring in it. Okay. But what it does is you screw it in and it moves that so your arrow is center in your riser and it centers it for you. On the other side, on the inside of on the shelf there, the riser, is your flipper rest. And what that is that's this thing right here that I'm going to be circling, and I'll explain it. It's just a little arm that's very weak. And it allows the arrow to go by, and it just holds the arrow, right? And it allows the arrow to go by. That's all the flipper rest does, is it holds it at a certain height. And then the plunger, which is coming through the backside, which is center on that arrow, allows it moves your left and right on that flipper. Okay, so now your arrow comes out straight. The beauty of it, why some of these flippers are $30 and why of them are almost $300 is the composition and the spring on them. Okay, and that's what makes them. You can adjust these because where a compound bow arrow comes out like a porpoise, a recurve does a fishtail. Did you know that?
I did not actually.
That's why you're here, man.
That's interesting.
Right? So that's why it is. So you tune your bow like where we tune it up and down, right? Mm-hmm. For like the drop, the limb driven rest for control. Recurves do it the same way with their plunger. How cool is that, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Right? Yeah, there you go. And that's how I explain it to them, and like the more money you put into archery equipment, what I always tell everybody, micro adjustability, materials, and consistency. That's why the difference between a $40 plunger and a $200 plunger is the micro adjustability.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
Right. And some of the materials in it. So you use different materials for different arrows because of how much you can wear on a material. And remember, people, Carbon arrows are a wearable item. I'm throwing a lot of shit in today, aren't I?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Thrown at them.
Okay. So let's take this picture down and start looking at us again. Okay. Here we go. All right. We're back in black. All right. Let's put this up nice and big. All right. So when you guys hear that in the podcast, that's me playing with my computer talking. All right. So if you don't want to see it, I wouldn't want to look at me. Will, though. Will's gorgeous. So you married, Will?
Nope.
You will be next week.
Potentially.
All the girls that subscribe to this podcast, unbelievable. All right. All right. We are drinking Blanton's today. Cheers,
Some good
brother.
stuff.
Yeah, man. All right. This is not a non-alcoholic podcast. All right. All right. So once again, there's that flipper that we were talking about and we described, and it's adjustable. You'll see this is a Target one. It's kind of got all micro adjustments, right? So that's another thing you're going to pay for in a rest. What is it? An arrest. What's a big thing that you pay more money for?
Micro adjustability.
Right. For what?
For rest tuning.
Right on, man. Yeah. Right on. Now, I brought Will on because he likes to tune his bow, man. That's why he brought it to me. And, when you start tuning stuff like that. Now, what's the one thing I tell you never to touch? Your rest.
Yeah.
I get a lot of money from people that take their bow home and play with the rest.
Yeah.
Right. So the bows now, what we talk about rest tuning is they're talking about micro adjusting the rest for like broadheads for, you really see the flight of the arrow more when you put the broadheads on, right? It's kind of masked with the technology on a field tip, right? So when you put a broadhead on, you really do some micro adjusting. Mm-hmm. And in the old days, we moved our rest a little bit, right? Well, you can use your rest for, torque tuning, but I'm saying for the flight of the arrow, guys would, hey, I'm getting a paper tune left. I'm getting a paper tune right. And they try it with their arrow and then they go, spines of arrows and all that other stuff that you're hear from the other podcasts, don't buy into all the guys. That's marketing. If they say you got to have this tip on here and that's the way it is, but they're the only ones selling it, that's marketing.
Yep.
That's bullshit. Okay. So the other thing is nowadays, some of the bows, they tune and you have a Matthews, right? I'm going to throw that out there as a product. Matthews is done with the top hats. The new Hoyts are done with shims, and they have a shim tool that they send me, and I may add not for free. And then they have Bowtech has their tuning with the cam, with the you can move the cam back and forth, and then Elite uses that smart technology where it does the same thing with it moves the whole limb situation over, right? So 2 you need to press, 2 you don't. Those are the 4 number ones out there in the country, right? And without a doubt, those are the 4 number 1 bows out there in the country. Those are the ones that I'm going to carry at my place. So now, basically, that's pretty much when you're looking at a rest, you're looking at those types, right? Mm-hmm. For what you're doing, target shooting, hunting, whatever. Right. Another thing is the materials. Look at the launcher, and the launcher is that little fork thing or whatever it is. The materials are very important, right? You get here. I'm going to hand you these 2. These are from 2 of the main brands that we use, and you can feel the materials. Some of them need felt on them to keep them quiet. Some not so much. Right. And so when you're picking out a rest, don't forget just on what type of action, but what type of materials they use. Right. And if you can get different types for the different size arrows, I'll take those. All right. So that's another thing you want to look into. What, hey, you got to know what kind of arrow you're using and then, pick the rest and operation of it. How easy is it? Does it work? You got to flip it up in your hand, or does it flip up on its own? Is it down all the time? And does it come up or like like the limb driver rest. A lot of them have when you pull it back, it comes up, and then they have like different types of launchers that center the arrow. Correct. Some of them even flip up beforehand and then are activated.
Yep.
And then drive down. So there are so many different rides. So if you decide you want to go with a limb driver, come in and talk to me. I have 4 different models in stock. If you're going to go with a drop away, I got at least 3 or 4 of those in stock. Different type of launchers. We can do things, and to make sure you have what you want for the type of arrow that you're going to be using and the type of situation you're going to be in. Right.
Right.
Cool. Right.
Yeah. So as a hunter, I feel like those ones you can flip up and are still fully enclosed are nice.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're, someone that's doing some spot and stalk hunting. So you don't lose that arrow off the rest.
I think the captivated ones myself. If like an elk's coming in, yep, and you're calling him and he's coming, right, and he's pouncing in, and you got somebody calling behind you, that sound bounces around, and he may be to your right, and as he comes up through the aspens or whatever, he may cut across because it's just an easier path because of a down tree or something, and come to your left. You may have to move, and the little branch can take an arrow off. So I'm big on the captive myself, no matter what the brand is. And I've used 3 different brands. 3 different brands that I use. It depends on the situation, what brand I'm putting on my bow. So yeah, that's a big deal. That's a real big deal. I keep touching stuff on the table. So if you hear something like crack, 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 that's me fidgeting around because I'm like a freak like that. So, did Luke leave?
Looks like he might have
scooted out. Yeah. We had Luke here, and I don't know where he went. So he must have taken off on us. So anyway, I was going to have him to get us some more drink, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to talk about one other thing, and today, because archery brings you into the outdoor, man, and then in the outdoor brings you equipment. So another thing is pocket knives, man. I got a new knife sharpener here, a whetstone with a strap on it, round strap, mechanical, a mechanical one. So I've been sharpening. I love knives, sharpening knives. Now my hunting knives are all Havilons, right?
Yeah.
I threw that out there. Outdoor edge. I can get outdoor edge too. But all mine are the replaceable blades. I said that by accident. So, but I have the replaceable blades, and my fillet knives are replaceable blades too. Right. Just because, man, when you're doing a big animal, your knife's going to go dull.
Right.
It's just going to happen. You go around. I always say the pad, because that's what the day that I had to do a black bear, I think it was a black bear pad, the hand, the paw pad, my knife went dull going on like the second or third one, and I had to sharpen it. And the next time I did it, my buddy was like, don't go through that shit. Here, take my replaceable blade one. And I did it with that. Man, it was just so nice. Yeah. You could just say, oh, you know what? There was some sand in there and shit because we were doing the coastal black bears down in the southeast. And I went around and the southeast Alaska, I meant to say, not just southeast. Those are little bears. Those are baby bears. But I shouldn't say that. I got some people down in Tennessee to listen to me, man. Good people down there. Yeah. They're right by Kentucky, and Kentucky has bourbon, so you got to be good.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So anyways, I use that replaceable, and then I never went back. Now I have them everywhere. As you know, I was working on the bench with one. We're cutting summer sausage, and I pull one out, put a new blade on there, and there it is. So anyway, that's what I use. But anyways, as far as pocket knives go, I'm going to grab mine. You got a pocket knife?
Yeah.
Listen, all right. Most guys have a pocket knife. Most guys have. What do you got?
I just got it's actually the NRA knife.
Oh, nice.
It's, I don't know what brand it is, but I use it as an everyday carry. I use the fixed blades for my hunting knives.
Right.
A little bit easier to clean.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, the movable ones. This is like one of those flip out knives, and it's got a clip. And that's what.
Yep.
Man, 90% of the guys are clipped because it's right there. You can grab it, and a knife is a tool, man. I mean, it's without a doubt something that guys, open boxes, cutting this, cutting that, sharpening this. I sharpen my pencil at work, and as being an electrician during the day, I sharpen my pencil all the time, my knife. So my knife's always got to be sharp, cutting wood like that, and the boxes, and then, digging in stuff like that. Now, I am known for carrying a Swiss Army knife. I've been carrying one since I was like 14 years old. And I used to carry the Swiss Army Tinkerer. And I'm throwing this out here because everybody knows me for it. I actually give them away as gifts and stuff like that. This year, I went to the Swiss Army Adventurer, and it has the same tools. It's the same makeup as a Swiss Army Tinkerer, but it's a larger blade by far. I mean, the blade is probably at least an inch to inch and an eighth larger. And mine has a lot of tools because I like the screwdriver. And the big thing for me was the can opener.
Yeah.
When I was in the military, this can opener is one that moves forward, and it's not a hook that hooks down and in like some of the other brands. There are other brands out there, and a lot of the multi-tools and stuff like that. But this can opener, it's got a little bit of an angle on it. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I found in Korea, because a lot of food can stuff in Asia, they have oval cans, and I'm not just talking sardines, man. There's all kinds of food in cans because a lot of people don't know the rest of the world doesn't have quite the refrigeration that we do and accessibility to it. So there's a lot of canned foods. And when you're in the military, you don't get too much good food. MRI, I was right at the end of the old food, canned food, that came with a John Wayne, little can opener in the military. Sea rations.
Okay.
It's been 30 years since I was in the Marine Corps, man. Just show my age. I'm getting senile and everything else. But anyways, and I was starting new MREs. And when they first started coming out, the MREs, there was only 5 of them. By the time I got out, there was 8, I think. But there was like 7 main ones. So you go out to the field in the infantry, and you're out there for a month, 7 meals, same 3 times a day. That sucks.
Yep.
Anything. We were trained these things all over the world. You go in and be like, because they don't have to refrigerate them. They could put them on the shelf. So it was great food for them, Right. But I was like, I just want something different. They made me an egg sandwich. They make a goose egg sandwich or something, or a duck egg sandwich with a piece of cheese, man. I'd trade my whole MRE for that damn thing. Give you the craps for a week because of that. Because of the oils and shit that they use, were dirty. But man, it was crazy. You'd eat anything but balut. No, I'm not gonna even go into that. That's a disgusting food. But
I've never heard of that.
It's a Filipino. It's an unfertilized, or it's a half-born duck egg that they put in hot rocks under the ground, and when they eat it, they click the egg, and then they suck the juice out, and then they open it up, and then they eat the embryo inside, and it's like semi-grown. It's disgusting. Yeah. It's a delicacy, they call it. Anything that they call a delicacy means not too many people eat it. You think you're cool because, and you want to give it a cool name because you're eating it, but it's sick.
You probably don't want to try it, though.
You probably don't want to try it. It's like, well, this is the delicacy. Let's eat monkey brains. It's a delicacy. Yeah, you know what? It's a delicacy you can have. You know what I mean? So anyways, back to the pocket knife. So a lot of people just use a knife because it's a tool, and they use it for wedging and stuff like that. And I use a Swiss Army knife because it has a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead, and it's thin, and it fits in your pocket. Now the Adventurer is kind of large in your pocket, but I like it because I use it a lot all day. So a lot of times, and this has got a little loop, I'll put it in my tool pouch during the day, and then at the end of the day, I just put it back in my pocket. But honestly, the Tinker is my favorite of all time, and it comes with a tweezers and a toothpick. Toothpick I use mostly for picking things out of something, that I can't reach with my fingers. And the tweezers, man, I get slivers, metal slivers mostly, because I do a lot of drilling in the metal. I pick those out a lot. So, but I sharpen them on my new sharpener and getting the right angle and getting the right edge. And remember, a knife that's sharp is safer than a knife that's dull. You're going to have left accidents, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's pretty much it for today. I want to keep it down. I don't know how much time we actually did today, but it is what it is. And Will, I want to thank you for coming on today. You were a big help.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh man, anytime. You'll be on again, I'm sure.
Yeah, would love to.
And shooting on Wednesdays. How you been shooting?
Pretty good. Scores going up, weekly, I think.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a couple of points here and there. So
kind of describe the format that we're doing on this particular league on Wednesday nights.
Yeah.
Just this, and it's going to be over, and we're going to be changing it up in a couple of weeks. What are you guys doing? What do you do first?
Yeah. So we'll do, we're doing 20 yards. And then, your standard format of
Vegas style.
Yeah. Vegas style.
30 arrows with a Vegas USA Archery target.
Right.
Right.
And then once we're done with that, we pull out the 3D targets, which is, awesome as a hunter to get some 3D practice in. We'll set up, anywhere from 10 to 12, from, 5 to 20 yards, 20 or 30 yards.
30 yards. Yeah, man.
So it's good practice. Kind of mix it up.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man. And I love hearing the laughing in the background, I mean, that's my favorite part is listen to you guys laughing. And we set up the platform ladder. Right?
Yeah. Right.
And you shoot from the platform ladder. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy, I even come out there. Some of the targets I've never even shot at. So I had to come out and at least put an arrow in them.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a lot of people don't know is the owner shoots less than anybody else. Unless I come in early or Sundays or whatever. I don't get to shoot that much. So anyways, so at that point, I think we're pretty much done for today. I want to thank everybody for coming in. Don't forget to subscribe, download, send me emails, man. Nice things. Remember, I want to hear nice things. I don't read the bullshit. So, right.
That's
I am,
fair.
man.
Yep.
It is, hey, you're not going to be the first person to hate me. So, that's been my saying forever. But, I want to thank everybody for coming to, listening to my podcast. This is Chicago Archery's To The Point, where the dealer is trying to help you, educate you guys so you can make a good purchase and not get the right stuff. Remember that's CATHE. No, it's CATOTHEPOINT at gmail.com. CA to the point at chicagoarchery.com. And don't forget that we have the YouTube, and that you just look up Chicago Archery's To The Point, or you can look up Chicago Archery and look up for products. I will be putting up more products in the next couple of weeks. So thanks everybody, and take care, and see you soon.